the Shell oil company is stopping operations in Russia. Facing international pressure over Russia's war in Ukraine, the company announced today that it will shut down its service stations and other operations in Russia. It will also stop buying Russian oil and gas. The Ukrainian foreign minister appealed on Twitter asking the public to pressure Shell and other international firms to halt further oil and gas purchases. In a statement released by Shell CEO, the company apologized for purchasing Russian crude oil over the last week, saying it was not the right decision. The average price of gasoline across the U.S. hit new record highs. This comes as President Biden on Tuesday announced a ban on Russian oil imports. According to AAA, the price of a regular gallon of gas spiked to $4.17. That went up by 10 cents since Monday. At some California stations, gas topped $6 per gallon.
I used to put $38 to fill my tank up. Now it's about, that's what you saw, between $70 and $90. I think that's crazy.
The previous all-time high for average gasoline prices was set in 2008 at $4.10 per gallon.
So long as this war is going on, I think prices will go higher.
The head of petroleum analysis for GasBuddy said the Russian invasion and seasonal price changes means Americans should prepare to pay even more for gas than ever before. And top U.S. intelligence officials told lawmakers today that Russia underestimated the strength of Ukraine's resistance before launching its invasion. That has likely caused thousands of Russian casualties.
We assess Putin feels aggrieved the West does not give him proper deference and perceives this as a war he cannot afford to lose. But what he might be willing to accept as a victory may change over time given the significant costs he is incurring.
The officials testified Tuesday before the House Intelligence Committee, offering their insight into the thinking of Russian President Vladimir Putin as his forces continue their march through Ukraine. The U.S. believes Putin had banked on capturing the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv within 2 days.
He was confident that he had modernized his military and they were capable of a quick, decisive victory at minimal cost. He's been proven wrong on every count.
Burns said China's leaders are unsettled by events surrounding the assault on Ukraine, despite refusing to condemn Russia or call the attack an invasion.
I think the President Xi and the Chinese leadership are a little bit unsettled by what they're seeing in Ukraine. They did not anticipate the significant difficulties the Russians were going to run into. I think they're unsettled by the reputational damage that can come by their close association with President Putin, second by the economic consequences.
Putin announced he would raise Russia's alert level for nuclear weapons, but Haines said the U.S. has not observed unusual changes in Russia's nuclear force posture. Now that it appears a full-fledged war has broken out in Ukraine, it has many still wondering how we got here in the first place. At an event last week, we had a chance to sit down with Air Force veteran and member of Congress, Barry Loudermilk. Here's what he had to say.
Congressman Loudermilk, thank you so much for joining us on the Capitol Report.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being here and taking time to do this.
It's our pleasure, truly. So, Congressman, I want to ask you about Russia and Ukraine. This large-scale invasion seems to have caught a lot of people off guard. I'm not necessarily our elected officials who have the intelligence, but how do you think we seemingly got to this point overnight?
Well, and that's the thing is we really didn't get there overnight. A lot of people think that we did. Putin is very smart. I know Trump has been excoriated for saying he's a genius, but he's an evil genius. I mean, he's very smart and very patient. I've said for many years that after the fall of the Soviet Union, when Vladimir Putin rose to power, his ultimate goal was to rebuild the Soviet Union to its glory of the past. That's been his goal. But he knew that to achieve that, he couldn't do it as long as NATO was strong, the U.S. not only was strong, but willing to use its strength. And so he went into this mode of playing the world's good guy, put in a form of pseudo-capitalism, even though it's more socialism, took a stance of non-aggressiveness, and we started turning our heads away. If you go back to the Obama administration, we changed the way our military was structured to fight against terrorism instead of global threats like Russia and China. We started placating to Putin, and then some even considered making him a member of NATO. And NATO was, originated to fight against the Soviet Union, to defend Europe against Soviet aggression. Well, he respects strength, but he'll exploit weakness. And what he has seen is weakness like we've never displayed before. I can see that. Vladimir Putin was taking advantage of the Obama administration. There was an element of weakness there. He invaded Ukraine and he took Crimea. And we really did nothing. We sent blankets. Then he invaded the eastern part of Ukraine. We really didn't respond. So he goes into Georgia. But then something unexpected happened. A dark horse candidate by the name of Donald Trump got elected to the President of the United States, and Republicans retained control of the House and the Senate, and started undoing the Obama policies that projected weakness. We started strengthening the military, and then Donald Trump did something incredible. He went to NATO and strengthened NATO by forcing member nations to invest more. That was the worst case scenario for Putin, so he retracts and becomes the good guy again. And then when Joe Biden ascended to the presidency in 2020, he's the gift that keeps on giving to Putin. It just displayed ultimate weakness that is reminiscent of the Carter administration. And so he's taken advantage of it and he's making his move.
Now, Congressman, you touched on this point a little bit. You have a military background yourself. Trump took a lot of heat in the way that he dealt with Putin, but yet the net result was peace. Right. And so in hindsight, what do you think this says to the way we're seeing things unfold now?
Well, he sees the weakness of Joe Biden, right? Donald Trump was unpredictable. Ronald Reagan came in and he brought in a new doctrine of peace through strength. It isn't just being the world's most powerful, having the world's most powerful military. It's whether or not you're willing to use it. That was the part of Donald Trump that Putin couldn't put his finger on. He's willing to negotiate. He talks to him. They have a relationship. Just because you have a relationship doesn't mean you're friends. There's a mutual respect there because Putin respects strength. He exploits weakness. He wasn't sure what Donald Trump would do. Same with Kim Jong-un. He made Kim Jong-un think he's just as crazy as Rocket Man was, He didn't know if we'd push a button if he pushed a button. So he gained the respect of Putin. That's why Putin withdrew. He became the nice guy again. But when he looks at what's going on in America right now, when we basically dissolve our energy independence and start buying oil from Russia, puts us in a bad position, projects weakness. When we have a military operation like the one in Afghanistan, where it was so poorly planned that we left Americans behind enemy lines, we used to never do that. That was a principle of America. We never left a citizen behind. Well, obviously he sees that we've traded out our principles. We're no longer we're not the America we used to be. That projects weakness. And he sees his opportunity to move. And then he does something to really test us. Makes a threat. When he made the threat the other day, if you try to intervene, you're going to have consequences like you've never seen. He made that statement right after ending a nuclear exercise. That was the point. You mess with me, I'll nuke you, because he believes that would scare Putin. And if you look at our response right now is weak. The sanctions are not the sanctions we need. We have to attack their oil production. Biden won't do it because his poll numbers are already low because of the oil prices here in the U.S. He knows they'll go up, but he caused this. And so Putin is exploiting the weakness that America is projecting right now.
Congressman Loudermilk, thank you.
No, thank you.
The truckers are here, and so are those in support of them. Today, lawmakers met with convoy leaders in the nation's capital. NTD's Iris Tao has more.
I talk to kids all the time, these teenagers, as I've been traveling through the country, and they're like, our high school is stolen.
The truckers are here, and so are those supporting them, including some on Capitol Hill.
People's Convoy, they're trying to let the American people understand what has happened to them.
Leaders of the truck convoys today met with Senators Ted Cruz and Ron Johnson, followed by a meeting with several Republican representatives.
Well, the fact that we have a chance to be here and have a voice, I respect the three of you for letting that happen. Okay.
They talked about a variety of issues, ranging from lifting remaining mandates to ending the state of emergency to dealing with soaring energy prices.
Stop it. Just don't sign anything, vote no on everything until they start waking up and give our rights back.
We talked to one of them who said he drove all the way from Arizona, more than 2,000 miles. Coming all the way here to D.C., what is one message that you want to present to the lawmakers here?
I want them to know that whether we're unvaccinated or vaccinated, whether we drive trucks or we love this country, we are united.
As the meeting is taking place right behind me inside this House office building, the convoy of trucks continue to make loops around the nation's capital. And some truckers told us today that they're not going anywhere until their voices are heard and all mandates are lifted.
It really means a lot because their voices represent most Americans. And the things they said here today is how the rest of America feels.
Own communities, their own counties.
And right outside the Capitol building today, another group, Moms for America, gathered to voice support for the truckers.
And this has been something that has been right in our backyard, in our own homes with our own children, from the mask mandates to the comprehensive sex education.
And lawmakers stood alongside them.
We need to get back to a normal life in this country.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., Iris Tao, NTD News.
The Pentagon is asking the Supreme Court to let it restrict unvaccinated Navy SEALs. In January, a federal judge blocked the Pentagon from stopping the deployment of Navy SEALs who claimed religious exemptions from the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. The Pentagon is arguing that unvaccinated SEALs are not prepared for deployments because their health could be easily compromised. The Pentagon made the court filing on behalf of the Biden administration. 26 Navy SEALs had challenged the administration's federal vaccine mandate. Despite the wishes of the Pentagon, at least one unvaccinated Navy SEAL was already deployed on a close-quartered submarine. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis held a roundtable with multiple highly trained doctors and scientists on the nation's response to the CCP virus. Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo and others lamented that there was almost no open discussion on science surrounding the virus.
The purpose of us coming together today is to have something that has been missing and been hard to find over the past 2 years, which is open discussion and transparency about some of the policies that we've seen over the last 2 years.
Some scientists were concerned that the proposed solutions did more damage than the virus itself. Dr. Bhattacharya noted that lockdowns were an enormous mistake, and places that sought alternative strategies had better outcomes.
Places that have followed such a strategy, Florida, Sweden, other places around the world, have done much better in terms of overall health outcomes than places that have had lockdown-focused strategies where the disease is spread anyways, but with catastrophic damage to the poor working class.